On the night of November 16, 2024, first responders arrived at an apartment on Madison Street in Everett, Washington. Inside, they found 37-year-old Lindsay Geary dead on her bathroom floor. Detectives quickly noted a strange sequence of events. Lindsay's boyfriend, Nestor Hernandez Melgar, had found her body, but his first calls weren't to 911. He contacted Lindsay's mother, then his own. This gap in the timeline suggested a specific intent to cement the narrative of a suicide with the family before any authorities could step inside to analyze the scene. When police arrived at the apartment, Nestor didn't rush to meet them. He kept them waiting at the front door for a full 90 seconds. Between the delayed phone calls and the refusal to immediately open the door, what started as a suicide response quickly shifted into a suspicious death investigation. It took 7 months of forensic analysis for the Snohomish County Medical Examiner to release a final report on Lindsay's death. The cause of death was listed as asphyxia due to ligature compression, but for the manner of death, the report simply read, undetermined. An undetermined ruling is a medical admission that the science alone cannot distinguish between a self-inflicted act and a homicide. This created a massive legal hurdle for the state. Prosecutors would have to secure a first-degree murder conviction, while their own medical experts couldn't officially call the death a murder. The defense focused on the idea that Lindsay, struggling with depression and intoxication, had taken her own life. Toxicology results supported the theory of impairment, showing that Lindsay's blood alcohol content was 0.228 at the time she died. Investigators also found a history of searches for suicide methods on Lindsay's phone from the night of her death. There was a draft text message detailing a fantasy about death, and forensic sweeps found none of Nestor's DNA under Lindsay's fingernails or on her neck. For the prosecution, dismantling this case meant systematically proving that these pieces of evidence were either coincidental or manufactured. The state's counterattack began with the physical geometry of the bathroom where Lindsay was found. Detectives focused on the specific rope found near her body, which measured 7.5 feet long. In this bathroom's dimensions, a 7.5-foot rope is physically too long for a self-hanging. Prosecutors argued the 90-second delay at the door gave Nestor the window needed to leave the bathroom, position the rope, and stage the scene after police sirens arrived. The physical dimensions of the rope suggested that the scene first responders walked into was an artificial construction. Beyond the physical evidence, the prosecution looked to the couple's history to establish motive. Nestor was under an active domestic violence no-contact order. He shouldn't have been in that apartment at all. 8 days before the killing, police had been called to the residence when Nestor tried to physically break into the home. This paper trail of escalating abuse provided the behavioral context the jury needed to find intent, even without a conclusive medical ruling. In their closing arguments, the state argued that the evidence of staging and the history of domestic violence were more reliable than the undetermined label on the autopsy. On June 22, 2026, the 4-week trial at the Snohomish County Superior Court reached its conclusion. The jury returned a verdict of guilty on all counts, including first-degree murder and burglary. By including a special domestic violence aggravator, the jury signaled that the murder was the fatal outcome of a documented pattern of abuse. Nestor Hernandez Melgar is scheduled for sentencing on July 22, 2026. We have compiled the full forensic arguments and trial transcripts at CassianCreed.com. Click the link in the description to read the full investigation and see how circumstantial evidence can build a case when medical science is silent.